15 years of data shows that Bitcoin also follows a power law principle. Giovanni's theory says that Bitcoin's price is not as random as it seems. There is randomness to it, but over the long term, Bitcoin's price follows a specific mathematical model. And it's not just a mathematical formula that some guy drew a line through, but instead, it follows a power law that are like the ones observed throughout the universe. Now, what I want to show you right now is a graph that's going to look kind of similar to what you might have seen before, but this one is not the stock to flow model. It's very different. So here's what it looks like. The yellow line represents the current price. The red line represents what's called the support line, which is the level Bitcoin usually never drops below, and it's been incredibly accurate. The green line is what's called the linear regression line, which you can think of sort of like the fair value price, where Bitcoin will eventually go back to, and the purple line is the resistance line that Bitcoin typically maxes out at. And this one is the hardest to predict. By the way, that chart that I just showed you is a log linear chart, which has been super useful in telling us where the bottom of Bitcoin is. And over the last 15 years, it's been scary accurate. Now another chart that's a log chart, like the one that we see in power laws, is much more useful in telling us when Bitcoin's price could 10x and then 10x again and again. So let me show you that right now. The days on the x-axis start from the first block that was ever mined, called the Genesis block, which advances by a factor of 10. And the same is true for its price on the y-axis. And on this chart, you can see just how incredibly linear Bitcoin's growth has been, especially if you remove the outliers. Now for Bitcoin, these outliers look really big. But the truth is, outliers exist in every system, but with enough data over time, they just become less noticeable. Now, if this sounds extremely confusing, because it does to me, I did get in touch with Giovanni, who has the PhD in astrophysics, who created all these charts and who noticed the relationship of the power law to Bitcoin, and here's what he said.
So the beauty of that is basically showing how Bitcoin is scaling up. So this concept of scale. A scale is these changes in order of magnitude, right? So you go from 1 to 10 to 100 to 1,000, right? It is important because Bitcoin went from being basically nothing, literally nothing, or a fraction of a dollar, right? And then it went to $1 and people got excited, and it went to 10 and 100,000, right? So in few years, in 15 years, it went up almost 6 orders of magnitude. That is amazing. Almost, I think actually no assets on earth has done that in the history of mankind, but I know, right? And so it's important to look at the scale.
Based on what this graph is showing us on a log scale,
yes,
what will Bitcoin's peak be at the next cycle?
So this is the next peak, right? So here, so I will say close to 200, close to 200. Let's take the worst case scenario that it continues to do this mathematical trend. The peaks are on an exponential decay, so you can calculate what will be the next peak based on that, at least 150,000. So I'm pretty sure of it.
And that's in what year?
Middle of 2025.
And what happens in 10 years?
Everybody wants to know when it is a million, right? So let me tell you that it will be 1 million in 2033. So July of 2000.